Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for the youorns 10-minute take on Sheffield Wednesday nil, Watford nil. It was that kind of game for the Hornets on Wednesday at Hillsborough. They tried and they tried, and it wasn't for a lack of trying that they just came up short because they couldn't finish. And the decision making for Watford going forward was not good. The final pass, not good. The final pass, a little hesitant, a little bit late. It was those fine margins that meant that this game would end at 0-0. And Sheffield Wednesday, a team in the bottom three, played very well, I must say. They kept Watford on their toes. The game was back and forth, back and forth. Wednesday, above all, just overall had more of the possession than Watford did. And certainly they too were guilty of missing a number of chances, one of which hit the post for Watford as well. They hit the post. Martin's very lively on the day, just could not get the ball into the back of the net. And he had a real good opportunity to do that in the first half. He had a ball passed to him from Bio. Bio was brilliant in this game. He ran all over the place, worked his socks off as he always does. He passed the ball over to Martins. Martins was in acres of space. The ball drifted just a little bit to the right, but still enough for Martins to put the ball into an open net. But he didn't. He skewed the ball, and that was that. That was the best chance Watford had in this entire match, and they should have taken the lead in that first half. As I said, Wednesday had their chances as well, and both Watford and Wednesday, just could not finish. There were some excellent saves. I talked about fine margins, and Ben Hamer provided some of those, especially in the second half of the game. He had a block. I don't know how he did this, but it was a reflex save. Ball hit his legs after it hit a post, and somehow Ben Hamer scrambled the ball off the line. The ball was creeping over the line. In fact, almost all the ball, a lot of the ball had gone over the line from one of the replays. Ben Hamer managed to stop the entire ball from going over the line, and that was an example of the fine margins. Watford could well have been trailing in this game. They could well have been up in this game, but because Watford on the break did not take their chances, they were forced to settle for a 0-0 draw. But that's not because Watford didn't play well. I think Watford played fairly well. I think they played pretty well given everything. I think they did well. Well, I was most impressed with their defending. They defended well as a team. They defended well off the ball. They defended well when they had to shield the ball and protect the ball from Wednesday. But it took them really until the second half to do that effectively, because in the first half, they allowed Barry Bannon of Wednesday, the talismanic figure that he is and has been for so long at Sheffield Wednesday, to have the ball and rule the roost, to run the pitch, to have unimpeded access into the Watford half, balls and crosses all over the place. And Watford finally got tight to him in the second half, and it worked. They neutralized him to a big degree, although it was a big relief to see him come off the pitch. Watford, I think, began to get a greater foothold into the game, that they just spurned chances rather, that they should have put away. Emmanuel Dennis came on late in this game, and perhaps had he come on, if he was playing in this game and he was 100% fit, he probably would have made that chance that Martins missed count for a goal. But we'll never know about that, and never, ever will we find out. But maybe in a few weeks' time, we'll really get to see Emmanuel Dennis at his tip-top best and fittest, because right now he is not in that kind of condition. He played for a few minutes in this game and really did not make a blip on the radar. Nor did Rajovic when he came on. Rajovic, to me, in the few minutes he was on, was ineffectual, did not use the size and the height that he has to push himself and put himself about against this Wednesday side. But Bio was terrific tonight, as was Matty Pollock in defense. A big reason why Watford's defense has improved is Matty Pollock. A big reason why Watford got their first clean sheet since November. And I believe it might have been Sheffield Wednesday that they played the last time they did get that clean sheet. I'm not 100% sure. But a big reason why Watford got their first clean sheet since November is because of Matty Pollock. He defended very well tonight, disciplined, stout defending, brought some physicality to the defending that you haven't seen a lot of this season from us. We don't tend to defend with physicality, because when we do use physicality, we often make these stupid fouls. And granted, Pollock got a yellow card for a foul he committed in the game, But I think his fouls were not stupid ones. They were sensible fouls within the spirit of the game. And I thought that he used his position and his size and his defending nous really well as he continues to get a starting role. This was his first start in the league. And of course, he had a start against Southampton in the FA Cup on Sunday. I thought Watford, for the fact that they just played on Sunday and, made just three or four changes, maybe three changes in this lineup for this game against Wednesday, just 3 or 4 days later, I think they played well. I think they performed well. They just didn't have that killer instinct in front of goal. That last pass, TDB had several breaks. I thought he was good in midfield, but he was too hesitant with the ball, didn't pass the ball quickly enough. And so by the time he did pass it, what happened is that the defenders for Wednesday, it was telegraphed. And so they could easily intercept the ball and be able to neutralize any threat that Watford had. Watford made a game of this. They brought energy and spirit and heart, and they certainly were committed to trying to get 3 points from a Wednesday side who have been in the bottom three all season long. The referee tonight was very good. I thought she was good. I really thought she did a good job, Rebecca Welch. Lots of Wednesday fans have vehemently disagreed with me on that. But I think overall, Rebecca Welch had a good game as a referee. Her first refereeing stint for with Watford and with a Watford involvement, I should say. But the bottom line here is that when you look at this game, 0-0 was about right. I don't think there was any injustice done in that scoreline, and you can't win every one of these games. Of course, on paper, you look at this game against the bottom three side and you say, well, we should be winning that game. But it doesn't always pan out like that. By the way, this is the first time this season that Watford failed to beat a club in the bottom three. This is the first time. They had beaten Sheffield Wednesday previously this season. They had beaten Rotherham previously this season, and they had beaten Queen's Park Rangers previously this season. Home and away in the case of Rangers, home against Rotherham and home against Wednesday. But this is the first time that Watford failed to beat a bottom three club, this time Wednesday away from home. And if you watch this game, you really couldn't have had any complaints about the final scoreline. Again, Wednesday came very close at the end of this game to winning it, literally just before injury time. A thunderous shot saved by Ben Hamer seemed ticketed for the top right-hand corner, but somehow Ben Hamer, outstretched palms and all, got to it. He continues, does Ben Hamer, to make his stake for Watford Graham Taylor Player of the Season. Yes, there's still 17 championship contests to go for Watford, but every game that goes by, it's Ben Hamer seeming to make the biggest impact, making a crucial save late to keep Watford either in the game or keep Watford on the winning track. We've seen it especially in these away games for the whole month of January in particular. You look at the game against Plymouth on New Year's Day. You look at the game at Queen's Park Rangers, and you look at this game, and all Ben Hamer continues to do is make save after save after save in these massive moments that really do determine whether Watford get 1 point or three. I think that Watford can really look at Ben Hamer and thank him. He wasn't particularly busy on the night, but he did, when he was called upon, make some excellent saves. I loved his authority between the sticks. He knew when to stay on his line. He knew when to come off his line. And his distribution, I thought, was very good tonight. No complaints about the way he played. Matty Pollock, also terrific, as I've said. Bio was brilliant as well. I thought those three were particular standouts. And also in the first half, Martins was terrific in this game. It was in the thick of everything. But after getting a yellow card, he was subbed off in the second half. I thought Watford's substitutions were more measured and more careful in this game. And of course, we've got, what, less than 24 hours to go now until the transfer deadline is up. That window shuts. For me, I don't expect Watford to do any business. The best deal they got, of course, was Emmanuel Dennis, who again made an appearance in this game, didn't really have an impact. He's still way off the pace. It's going to probably be another 3 or 4 weeks before we see, in my estimation, a fit, tip-top Emmanuel Dennis. And when you think about the fact that Watford have got players coming back from injury in the next week or two, I think things are looking pretty good for the Watford, except for two things. The fundamentals. One being passing the ball quickly, moving the ball, making that final pass, and finishing, which is one thing I think Emmanuel Dennis will help with when he is absolutely 100% ready to go. But back to this game. Sheffield Wednesday played better than I thought they would. And I think Watford were ready for it. It was not the banana skin game that I had feared. Definitely a kind of game that Watford can be proud of themselves, resilient in a tough place to play like Hillsborough, to come away from there with a point against a side who I believe had won their last three games at Hillsborough, and that would be Wednesday. To come away from that contest with a point, I think is really good, even better, a clean sheet. Again, this is a long time coming for Watford, and this clean sheet will give their defense much more confidence going into the next game against Cardiff this weekend. But for Watford FC, yes, an opportunity lost to get 3 points, but they still do get to within 3 points of the playoff places. Coventry City on 44, Watford on 41, and Watford in ninth place on 41 in that specific instance. There'll be better days than this, but it's also nice to know that Watford kept a clean sheet. A clean sheet. A clean sheet. My kingdom for a clean sheet. This has been the YouOrns 10-minute take.